Okay, good morning to all attendees. This morning what I am going to cover is obviously simple ways to improve efficiencies and risk management, and using Oyez systems that we've developed over the last 5 years, which has been quite a re-engineering of OyeForms and also introducing new products. So just to give you a feel for this, first slide will introduce what we've done in terms of those changes. We've introduced many intelligent process systems, the likes of Word versions of the forms, DataFlow systems, and the latest introduction is Oyez Gatway, which is the e-submissions of company house forms, rather than just going online and submitting them. These efficiencies are in terms of productivity, improved collaboration, and risk management. And also with companies' house e-submissions, the reason for this venture, if you like, was to improve process control and the risk management taken in terms of completing a mortgage charge and filing it online rather than manually. So let's just go on to where we've improved these efficiencies and the risk management. You can see here this is version 11 of OyeForms, which we have introduced now, and have in the region of about 300 clients now using the system. So it's proved, well proved. And you can see the list of efficiencies that we've improved on. Automatic scheduled updates, which is in version 10, but also integration to case and document management, SharePoint, and so on. Advanced search facility, which is very quick and accurate, and you can just put in let's say, a number of words into the search engine, and it doesn't have to be in the correct order, and it will find the form that you're looking for. Word versions of the forms have been introduced, as many users like the use of Word versions of the forms. Also, this now integrates to Tikit in the latest versions, and and you've also had the facility to have multiple form opening with OyeForms. We've now, in version 11, spent the last 9 months developing the system so that you can now edit the text in terms of bullet points, numbering, and so on, in any field, in any form. You can create a collection of forms where you open up several forms and join them together as one file, so that when you save them and when you then review them, you can actually review the collection rather than just having to open one form at a time. Send facility, PDF send facility. You can, at any stage, click on send on the toolbar, and it will create a PDF of the form and attach it to an email for you. Another big feature we've included just before V11, and lots of people don't even realize they've got it, and that is the autosave function for document recovery. So whilst you're working on a form, if you have an issue with that and the system falls over, that's your system, then you reboot and you can go to Tools, and it will allow you to open up those forms that you saved in the background, so that you've not lost all of your information, should you not have saved it prior to the problem. So when I mentioned that we've introduced systems, these systems are where you enter the information once, and the information flows into all the relevant forms that are required for that particular application. For example, In private client, with the IHT 400 All, there's all the calculations for the IHT 400, and the IHT 400 All is the IHT 400 and all of the forms that are required for the completion of the inheritance tax. There's all the calculations, and you calculate the tax that's due on the estate. Lasting power of attorney, you fill in one of the forms, or you fill in the information that's required, and that information then flows into all of the relevant parts of the lasting power of attorney. Whereas prior to this, you would have to fill in individual forms, and up to 10 or 15 forms to fill in with the same information. COP workflow works in a similar way. And then you go on to family. FormE, always not so simple a form to complete. We now have a Word version of this form, which allows you to share it with the client if you want to, and they can fill in things like income needs and so on. Again, does all the calculations. We also have a divorce workflow. You fill in the details into the front end, and it flows all the data into any of the forms that you open up in the divorce system. Property, recent products that we're about to add, not there yet, but there's a sale workflow and a purchase workflow. I'm sure that will appeal to many of your property people. And also in civil procedure, we're partly through the development of a civil procedure workflow too, which you fill in the details in the front end, and it flows all the information into all of the forms that you open relevant to those particular applications. I'm sure you'll find that very interesting and rewarding. So if we now just go on to the e-submissions charge, registration, company's house, you'll see that basically what we've done is we give you the opportunity to complete the MR01, add the relevant PDF legal instruments, two in total, one being the legal instrument and the other being a standard letter, which explains what's happened. And then you share it with an authorizer who then has the option to approve it. If necessary, you can print off the document and do it in the manual process. However, that obviously adds more risk, or the same risk that you have with a manual process. Documents can be amended by the author or the authorizer, and then you can submit it. Submitted by XML, which sends the data from the form through to the government gateway, where it's validated, and at this point, or it's validated prior to sending, and then once it reaches the government gateway, it's validated again. Post-submissions, you receive the certificate back. You can check it back into your case management or your DMS, document management, and save a PDF of the whole transaction, including the history of what's happened during that transaction. Just to give you a feel for what e-submissions can do for you, if we go on to here, you can see the flow diagram that we originally. Don't try and read all of it. I'm sure you'll have difficulties, but it's actually a chart which mimics the secure accepted manual process, and further to that, also additional risk management features. So when you go into the system, you can create an MR01, and you can actually add the relevant legal instruments as a PDF in PDF format from your document management or your case management. And you can view your submissions on your own dashboard. If you look at the top of the screen there, you can see my dashboard, which is now live. You can see two sections there. The top section, which is submissions I am editing, and it will show all of the submissions that you are have in progress and the status of those submissions being edited or awaiting awaiting internal approval. And then at the bottom, you can see that the person who is this screen, this dashboard is for, is the person who has the ability to undergo, say, approve those submissions that have been submitted to them for approval. And they can see the whole submission and the actual legal instruments, and then they can make a judgment, and they can either approve it or reject it. Or if they've got the rights, they can actually, if they're happy with it, they can submit it to the government gateway. Here is an opportunity for someone in the practice to have the responsibility for viewing all submissions to ensure that everything is going according to plan, that everything is progressing. There is a 21-day deadline, as you probably all realise. This 21-day deadline is monitored, and you can set parameters so that you get a warning at 5 days to go, and you can get another warning at 2 days to go, or you set your own parameters. And you will get the text will change colour to an orange warning, just to give you an understanding that you are getting close to the actual end of the date, or end of the 21 days. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the OyeForms, and I'm going to show you how some of these features have impacted, how they impact on efficiencies and risk management, so that you can see how easy it is to actually benefit from those simple ways of improving efficiencies and risk management. So, if you want to open up a form, you just go into File and New, and then you go to the relevant section here of the library to decide which forms you want, and when you get to the section you want, then you just double click on the form and it will open. Here you've also got the facility to view the updating of that form, the history of the updating of that form. You just click on it, and it will take you to our website, and it will actually show you the actual updating of each form in the library, and whichever icon you click on will, or form that you click on, it will allow you to see when that form was updated, what was updated, and so on, going back in time, so that you can be very aware that our forms are always up to date. Okay? So, if we now go back to the system, if you want to find a form and you know what some of the words that are included, some of the words that are included in the actual description. For example, if I was looking for a form of pension, in the description, if you look at the top right-hand corner, you'll see this box. That's the search facility. I put pension in there, and if I click on Enter, it'll bring up every form, and that's how quick it is, every form in the library with pension in the description. If I wanted to fine-tune it a little, and I, let's say, can remember another word in the description, for example, if I'm looking for self-assessment pension, then I put self after that, and Enter again, you'll see that it fine-tunes it to exactly the form that you want. So a very powerful search engine, cutting down the time, making it more efficient for you to find things. And I'm sure you agree on that. Okay, so what else have we got here? We've got the ability to actually open up your forms that the system saves. 16 of the forms that you're working on a regular basis, that's your frequently used forms, with the last form that you opened appearing at the top. If I now just, for example, I've opened up this one, but let's just go back. I just want to open up a TR1, for example, so everyone realizes what a TR1 is. And I'll just go to here and click on the TR1 and open it. It's as quick as that, by the way, when it opens. Very small footprint for OyeForms, as you probably all realize, and very quick over a wide area network in comparison to other systems. So if I wanted to, I can have multiple forms open at the same time. So you can open up several of the transfers if you want to edit them and you want to copy and paste the common information from one to another. So if we go here and we also open up the TNT one. So we've now got 3 forms open here, and you go to the relevant tab at the top to make that form live and edit it. You'll know when it's live because it has the cross here for closing the form, showing at the right-hand side where it really goes. Okay, so if I now go back to TR1, and I want to, this is another nice feature that we've included, improving the ability to just drop in your clauses rather than having to copy and paste them from existing documents. So what you do is you go to your pinboard, which is here. You go to the section that you're relevant to the form, which is obviously property. Click on there, and here you can have the actual clauses that you want to use, that you've added yourself, and you can drop that in to the form. You can hover over it, shows you the clause, and you can just drop it in like that. Okay? Also, you can actually text edit this text. We'll just show you, we just go back to the pinboard, and we want to add another clause. Just pop this in, and it drops in like that. Now you've got a situation here where you can actually edit the text. So you can go into here, and you can see here that the editing facilities have improved dramatically. So you've got bold, italics, underline, color. You've got align left, center, right, and justify. You've also got the line spacing that you can change. You've got paragraph properties, which will highlight and show you where the paragraphs. Also, you've got the list and numbering, so you can edit this in terms of giving it numbers. And this is quite special to any form of system, and we're probably the only company that can actually do this directly into the field. Other systems can allow you to take the text out, drop it into Word, edit it, and drop it back in again, but then you have to be aware of the actual flexibility of the field when you do that. Otherwise, it will miss off some of the information that you've tried to put back in. So there's a risk included in that, whereas this manages the risks involved. So you can decrease indent and you can increase indent. So let's just show an example here. I'm going to number it. I'm going to then take some of this text. For example, I'm going to go into here and just to show you, I know it doesn't need to go there, but also what you can do is you can indent as well, so that it will indent and put in. So it's moved this system on dramatically and made it more future-proof and allowed you to edit in the forms and make it, let's say, more attractive. I know that most lawyers love to make their work look the part, and this does that for you. So again, you can do this if you want to. For example, you can now copy and paste this information with the editing through to all the relevant forms that are required in this section that you've got here. So you can see some of the actual paragraph notations. If I just copy this, I can drop it into the sections that are required here, additional provisions, and just paste it in. And you can see that it carries the text editing with it. Okay, so we've improved the quality of your work by adding the editing. We've also made it it's easier for you to use the editing facility. You also have the facility here to watermark it with draft or confidential or do not copy, which is part of the editing. And then if I just close this and close this one, and let's say I was in a form and I wanted to send it to the client for signing. In here, to your execution clauses, to your application clauses, click on the relevant one that you want, okay it, and drop it in. And then you can just click on send and okay that, and it will create a PDF of the form and attach it to an email for you, like that. So, again, efficiencies, cutting down the time it takes to complete forms at the same time and send them to someone else or share them and so on. So, we just close this now. Another situation here for risk management is if you had a form that didn't expand, for example. For example, I'm going to use the LLC one, but you can't get all the information into the description here. So what do? You go to Insert, Blank Page, and then drop the page wherever you want it in the form, which is relevant, and then just insert it. And in here, what you can do is put in the relevant text that you require. I'll just put some text in here so that you see how easy it is to drop that text in from anywhere. And then what you can do is what this is doing is actually avoiding you opening up a Word document to actually create this additional information and then hence having two separate documents. In this case, once you've added the additional page, you can add multiple pages if you want to. They are just one file. So again, you can, if you want to, you can actually edit the text here. If we just go in here and put in the numbering and so on, you can see how easy it is to edit your text going forward. Okay, so when we save this, when we close it, when we save it, the additional text that I put into the blank page is saved with the form as one file so that you're not having two separate documents. Again, managing the risk of forgetting that you've got two separate documents. Okay. So, another feature that I feel many of you are not aware of, but can be quite useful. This is when you want to create a collection. And let's say you want to save all the forms as one file in your collection. All you need to do is add the relevant forms that you want. So let's say we want TR2. Yes to that. So TR1. And then let's say we want a TR2. And yes to that. Let's say we now want a TP1, for example, and then just yes to that. So now you have all the different forms that you want. Again, the X will be next to the one that's live and the one that you can remove if you wanted to. This is where you control the collection, and you can add additional forms here, which takes you back to the whole library, and you can add another form that you need in the collection. Or you can remove a form that you added but perhaps you don't need. You can click on delete. Or you can change the order in which these forms are currently in, if that makes it more sense for you to save it like that. Okay, and when you come to save it, you close it and save it to the history of your case management or to your document management as one file. But when you open it, you open up the three forms which are then ready to be reviewed or amended, and you don't have to open separate forms to get to where you want to be. And they're all relevant to that client. So when you save them as under the client name and so on. I'm going to close this now. It will ask me if I want to save it. I can actually also, let me just cancel this, I can also actually send the collection. Click on here, and it will create a PDF of the collection and allow me to and attach it to an email that allows me to send it to another party for view, to review, and so on, or for signing of all the forms. Okay, so I'm just going to close this now. Okay, and what I want to now just introduce to you is those forms that we've created that I mentioned earlier, not the forms, but systems for things like IHT 400, also HOP workflow, LPA Combined workflow, FormE is now in a Word version, or can be in Word version, and how you can save time and obviously improve efficiencies, but manage the risk of adding things that perhaps aren't as you would like. So, if you now open up, I'm going to start off with the lasting power of attorney, which is quite a risky combination of forms. What we've done is combined all the forms that are required for lasting power of attorney. So if I open it, you can see here that I can have a navigate button. You can navigate to anywhere here, but ideally, in the first instance, you fill in details of the donor, and then you go back to attorneys, where you would add up to 5 of the 4 attorneys. And if addresses of the attorneys are the same, might be children of the family, then you just click on the address and choose the relevant address and not have to type it in. So again, improving the efficiency on completing this. So if we now navigate again, and we go back to here, you can add a replacement attorney and people to be told, up to 5 people to be told. Again, with the ability to just fill these in without, and once you've done that once, that information is available to all of the other parts of this particular form. You don't have to fill in those with the same information. So if we just, what I want to do now is just close this. And what I'm going to do is open up a form that I've added some information to, which will make more sense to you. So if we go in here, you can see that I've added 4 attorneys, number of replacement attorneys, and also people to be told. But if you go to navigate, you can actually go into donor, and the donor details are already in. Okay, so that's put in there. Then you can navigate to attorneys, so you can see that I've added 4 attorneys, and I've also added 5 people to be told. Okay, so if we now go back to navigate, and we look at attorneys that in the property and financial affairs or health and welfare or the notices, you'll see that there's nothing in there yet. Okay, and so those areas have not been filled in as yet until the front end is completed. So navigate again. Again, just for your information, if I just go to here, which is health and welfare attorneys, there's nothing in there. And then if I now navigate to the notices, which are here, again, nothing there. And how easy is this to just complete once you've added the correct information? And I would say very easy. All we do now is go back to the home page. And this is how easy it is. Click on here, which is the property and financial affairs. X appears in the box. And the notices, click on here, completes the notices as well. So when you go back to navigate to Property and Financial Affairs, all your attorneys have been transferred and completed and flowed from the information you've already added. So the chance of creating mistakes is taken away, so the system becomes so much more risk averse, and you benefit from that in terms of time and efficiencies, obviously, but the risk management side of it is also key. And these are the sort of things that we've been doing over the last 5 years, is adding things that make the life of a lawyer a little bit more comfortable. So, if we now just go back to navigate, and we want to see the notices, click on here, and you can see in here that it's also completed the notices for me. And if I just go forward, you'll see it's all of the notices for each attorney. So the amount of time is an inordinate amount of saving of time and managing the risk of things not going right according to plan. So if we go back to the beginning, that's how the LPA Combined workflow works, and that's how our workflows in general will work. So that you flow information from entering it once, it flows the information into all the relevant forms that are required for that application. If down the line, let's say 2 years down the line, if this person with health is suffering, all you need to do is to complete the health and welfare, is to click on this, and that's completed for you. Also, if the spouse starts to suffer in terms of health and welfare, or they have to fill in or have to have a lasting power of attorney created, then all you would do is save as with this one and alter the name of the person, and then all of the other information is then relevant. Okay, so time taken to do that is minimal. Okay, I think we've covered that one. So if we now just move on and go to, not going to save it in this case, and we go on to something like the IHT 400, for example. Still on the IHT 400, and this is the IHT 400 all. So you fill in the details of the deceased, and all of those details are then available to all of the schedules that you have to include in this inheritance tax form. So if we just put in a little bit of detail in here, put some in there for now, and if we just put in, let's say it's good, and date of death, let's say this 01, 03, 2016, and then you wouldn't have this reference at the beginning, but when you do get the reference, if you put it in, you put it in here, and it flows that information into all of the schedules that you've included within this transaction. So I'm just going to put something in here for now so you can see that. And then if we now go back to the beginning, okay, and we want to complete one of the schedules, and this is how you complete any schedules. You click on the relevant tab. In this case, we'll have the banks and building societies. Fill in the details again here, so it throws the details in, and you just put in the relevant asset values. Let's say £2,000 in here, and let's say £3,000 in here, and that has already totaled it when you have out. It's totaled it at the bottom. However, that figure is already in the IHT 400. So if you now go back to the IHT 400, for example, go to the home page or click on here, and you go to the estate, you'll see that the information I've just put into that schedule is already included in the IHT 400, and that's how it works. So you do all the relevant schedules and it automatically updates the IHT 400 for you. It also calculates the tax that's due on the estate, and it's a big bonus to any private client lawyer because it manages those transactions. And if, for example, you have a situation where you add a pension, which is 409, you have the option to include it or not, because in some cases the actual pension is not inheritance tax is not due on the pension. So, and sometimes it is. So you'd either include it or not, but that decision is made by the lawyer, not by us. Okay, so that's clear on how the IHT 400 works. Time saving is amazing, and that's what I'm going to do now is, I'm not going to save that. Go to here, and I'm going to open up FormE, which is a Word version of FormE, just to show you again how we've dramatically improved that. Click on here. It's in Word. Opens up Word. Okay, and we just make this bigger so we've got one screen. And then if you just click on Add-ins, you have. Hang on a second. Let me just close this again. Just go to the Word FormE, which is at the top now, because it was the last form I opened. And if we just increase the size of it, and we go to Add-ins, yeah, unfortunately something is interfering with this, probably the actual webinar, but you should get content enabled here, like that. Okay, so I've just enable the content. You can navigate to anywhere in this form, okay? Assets, liabilities, income, and so on, and fill in the details. You can also duplicate any subsections, for example, pensions, business interests, real property, and so on, all those things that often are duplicated. Tables, you can add rows, delete rows, and actually in Action, you can add the relevant income needs as you've stored them in the system. You can create the schedule of assets and the chronology, clicking on this button and this button, and from the information you've added, it will create those for you. An Excel spreadsheet in terms of the schedule of assets. You can manage currency conversion ratios, so if there are multiple currencies, up to 6 different currencies. And child benefit, if you put in the details of the children under 16, it will automatically calculate the child benefit that's due, and so on. So, just to very simply add something here, all I'm going to do is go back to Navigate and go to here and add an asset, in this case, maybe savings account, and you pop in the details of the savings account in here, and it calculates, does all the calculations for you. So if there's £2,000 in here, okay, and let's say £3,000 in this one, okay. If you had, you needed to add another row or several rows, just go to Tables and add rows like this. Very simple, easy to use, okay. And let's say I wanted to add a dollar account. Just click on dollar and whatever the value of that account is, let's say it's $12,000. And then when you want to convert those, you just go to Actions and Manage Currency Conversion Ratio. Put in the relevant rate of the dollar at the day at that time, that day and that time. It will record the date here for you, and then you just put in the relevant rate. I think it's 1.43 or something like that at the moment, and then update the symbol ratios. Click on here, and it will update the total here so that it becomes pounds rather than. Let me just close this a second. I've not tabbed out in that one, but the total at the moment is 17. 1,000, but it's mixed currencies. Okay, so what we need to do, as I've just shown you, go into manage to this how quick it is, 1.43. Click on Update Symbol Ratio, and you can have up to 6 different currencies that you're doing at the same time if you put in the relevant exchange rate. And then click on Update Symbol Ratio, and you see the total will change to pounds. So this is now in pounds. Okay? Again, something simple, but very effective. And then, again, if you want to go to your income needs, and you want to add your stored income needs, and you want to merge it in, click on here, add the relevant one. I'm going to use the extended one, and then merge it. You'll see that, yes to that, and it will now start to add the rows to the table here, and it could be up to 60 items or more, and then it will add the relevant income needs that you've actually incorporated into the system, your income needs. And obviously, this is a big bonus in terms of completion of forms and ensuring that what goes in there is what you wanted to go in there. Okay? You can share this now with the client, and they can add all the relevant income needs. Just send it to the client as a Word document. They can add the relevant income needs and send it back to you. All you need to do when you get this document back is just put it into some comparison software so that you can actually compare what's changed and decide whether you want to accept it or not, or review it, and so on. Big bonus again for efficiencies and risk management. Right, so again, now let's say we'll just put a couple of things in here. Council tax, let's say that's £1,000 per annum, and let's say in the mortgage here it's £6,000 per annum. And then what you need to do is the estimated future costs are usually the same as current costs. All you need to do is go to Actions, Income Needs, and go to Income Needs and go to Duplicate Current Costs to Future Costs, and it will whisk through the list and total it up for you, like that. Any of the costs that are not total, the same, you can actually edit, and it will just update the total at the bottom. So you can actually edit this and change that. Okay? More things, but let's just now just have a quick look at the Create Schedule of Assets, which is just click on that, and it will open up a spreadsheet, and it will take the totals of the assets and put them into the spreadsheet for you. And that's how simple it is to create the schedule of assets. So this system obviously improves efficiency, manages the risk of things going into the wrong places, or certainly helps dramatically with the completion of the FormE. Right, so that's only part of what it does, but now I'm going to close this. Not going to save it. You can also go to Actions, and you can create the chronology. Obviously, I've not put too much in the chronology, but that's how quick it is at creating the chronology for you. Very clever. Okay, so let's just go back to here. And if we go to Actions again, you also have the facility to calculate child benefit. You can add rows to the table underneath the table, which you can put notes in. You can mark unused tables not applicable. And when you come to print this out, you just, the same, well, certainly with IHC and so on, you can print out only the schedules that have been used. Okay, so There are one or two other things, but I just wanted to save 5 minutes for questions. But let me just close this form now. And let's close this one. It's just the chronology. Not much in the chronology because I didn't put much into it. And then if we just have a look here, so that you can see, we also have now shortly to be available property sale workflow, property purchase workflow, work in a similar way to the way in which I showed you in terms of the lasting power of attorney, also COP workflow, and we'll be adding more. So systems that manage risk, dramatically improve efficiencies, are things that the lawyers today need, and simple. These are simple ways to improve things for you going forward, and we'll constantly be adding new features that improve this scenario. I haven't had the opportunity to show you the Companies House submissions live. However, if you're interested, you just contact us and we can show you that. But in these processes, we've spent the last 5 years listening to what lawyers have been saying and actually providing things that they actually need.